You're listening to Detroit Today on 1019 WDET. I'm Stephen Henderson, and as always, thanks for tuning in. We just heard from current Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson about her proposals to make Michigan politics and government more transparent and free of so-called dark money. Now we'd like to welcome the person who held that job before Benson, someone who may now be in a position to vote on whether to implement these measures. Ruth Johnson is now a state senator, a Republican who represents Michigan's 14th state Senate district, and the former Secretary of State here in Michigan. Ruth Johnson, welcome to Detroit Today.
Thank you, Stephen.
Yeah. So what do you think of these ideas to force disclosure on all forms of dark money, the things that Jocelyn Benson told the legislature last week she'd like to have done?
Yes, I actually put in an administrative rule in 2013 to make just that happen. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, it didn't take long before it actually was voted so that it would have to be a law, and the law was no disclosure. Mine was an administrative rule I sent to licensing and regulation to do just that.
And so now that it may be in front of the legislature again, that's good news to you then, correct?
It's good news, that's for sure. The more sunshine we can get, the better, even on office holders' expense accounts. I've been the only one in Lansing in, the years that I've been there and in politics that ever has disclosed that money personally, and I have the system all set up in the Secretary of State's office so that people could also release the information on who helps them with office holders' expense accounts, which have really no checks and balances and no way for people to know.
So talk to me about your new role. You're a state senator representing the 14th state Senate district. For 8 years, you were Secretary of State. What made you want to be part of the legislature again? You were in the legislature before on the House side. Now you're on the Senate side.
Yes, I enjoy being part of making policy to help people. I think I bring a diverse background that helps me make good decisions. I grew up in Waterford, and my dad was an immigrant. He did not have a high school degree. We didn't live with a lot of money, but a lot of love and a little discipline, too. And then when he passed away young and left my mom with 3 kids, we lived under the poverty level, and us kids got jobs. I understand the value of working hard and balancing a budget and also getting things done. And I enjoy working with people and enjoy working for people.
Is there a difference that you've noticed so far in that executive branch role and statewide versus the district role and legislative that you're in now?
Oh, lots of differences. The state is really big. Driving from Detroit to up in the Upper Peninsula to the west side is like driving to Atlanta, Georgia. So I get to stay closer to home. I enjoy that, too. I loved traveling around the state, too. But this is about making laws rather than administering them. So it is a big change. I had 100 staff, and now I have 3 staff. So that's a big difference.
That is a huge difference, right? So talk about some of the priorities in your district there, close to the thumb.
My district starts at right on the line that divides Flint from Grand Blanc, and it kind of looks like a funnel, and it comes all the way down to Waterford and Lake Angeles. So the northwest side of Oakland County and the southern part of Genesee County. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of in between Flint and Pontiac.
Yeah. And what are the priorities that you have for that district in the legislature?
Yes, and I think one of the good things is whatever you do for your district, hopefully it also helps everyone in the state. I'm working on some legislation right now. One is address confidentiality bills for anyone that has been stalked or domestic violence or part of the sex trafficking, a victim of sex trafficking. It's a bipartisan package of bills, and it will keep the addresses of victims, it will keep them confidential, and it allows the Secretary of State to shield addresses on personal ID and driver's license as well as a qualified voter file. For those hundreds of people that need it, it will be really helpful. And then performance audits of state government departments, I think, is very important. I did it as an Oakland County clerk and Secretary of State, and it will hopefully make us more efficient and remove duplication and find better ways to get things done. I'm also working on military voting. I was chosen to go to the Middle East to visit our troops as part of a bipartisan group of Secretary of States. We had 5 ideas, and they were never able to get through the legislature. So right now I'm looking at a way to have secure electronic voting for troops using their CAC card, which is very high level of security. And also water well quality I've been working on for 30 years. It's nothing new. I want to make sure people have maps so they know there are places in Michigan that more than 1 out of 10 homes are contaminated just with the natural occurring arsenic. And it can be mitigated with correct water filtration system. But I find it immoral that we've known since 1987, and we haven't told people yet. I did do it as a county commissioner, but it has not been statewide, and it really hasn't been. Most people don't know that they should be testing for natural occurring arsenic in the areas that we know have it, as well as, of course, many other things. So the maps would show nitrates, volatile organic compounds, other heavy metals, PFAS, to educate people what to test for.
I also wonder what you make of the proposals that Governor Gretchen Whitmer has laid out in terms of the budget. She would love to get the roads fixed. That was something she focused on almost exclusively during her campaign. She now says that the best way to do that is a 45-cent increase in the gas tax. You're part of the Republican caucus in the state Senate. What do you think about that idea?
Well, I can't talk on behalf of others, but that's a $2.5 billion tax increase, and it would make Michigan's gasoline tax the highest in the entire country. And also the proposed increasing taxes on the small business owners by almost $300,000, and small business creates 62% of the new jobs in our country. So I have some serious concerns about the new taxes and spending. We are the comeback state of the nation. We were dead last for gross domestic product, making and selling things during the last recession, and we don't want to go back to that position. When I was county clerk, register of deeds, we had only second to the Great Depression, people losing their homes. So we can't tax people and job providers out of our state. Also, a lot of the money wouldn't even go to our roads. It's not all for the roads. It's because $600 million we're already spending on roads from existing revenues. It would take it out and spend it on other places in the budget. So $600 million of gas tax wouldn't even go to fix our roads, and I'm concerned that it will hit low-income individuals the hardest, or people that have to drive a long way to work.
So if you don't want to do it that way, but of course, you, like everybody else, you drive the roads here and
Right.
see how awful a shape they're in. What would you do to fix that?
Well, the legislature has been appropriating far more money, and it's phased in because you can only have so many roads as closed at a time. But we've already been investing in our roads and education in the environment at record pace since we've come out of the worst recession in my lifetime. So we've added $2.8 billion extra to roads since 2017, and we're already on track to spend an additional $1.2 billion per year on the roads.
But some of that was really for like one-time projects, and there are these studies that talk about us needing another $2 billion per year to just get the roads back into passable shape. That's not to upgrade them. Do you not believe those studies?
Well, the study MDOT did in 2015 said we needed $1.2 billion extra. Now they say it's $2 billion. As hard as it is, whether you're a homeowner or in government, we have to live within our means and balance our priorities. So government's just like families that have to be sure they stay within their budgets, and you have to balance everything. Can people really afford 45 cents and then $600 million doesn't even go to our roads? So right now I'm still listening and still watching what happens. I know we need to put more money into our roads, but I really feel like a 45-cent tax that ends up $600 million not even going to our roads is not a good idea.
And so what do you make of the state of negotiations, I guess, in Lansing? We've had 8 years where the governor and the legislature were the same party. Now we have a Democrat as governor and still Republican control of the legislature. What have you made of the give and take that seems to be unfolding?
Well, I think it's a misnomer that the governor got along real well with our legislature just because they belong to the same party.
That's true, right?
Yeah. Oh, boy.
He would say something very different about that.
But I've always worked in the legislature, even when it was all Republican. The only bills I ever had were bipartisan bills. I actually had co-sponsorship on all but one, and that's because I stayed 3 hours late and nobody was left. But I did get support on it when it was voted on. I believe that we agree on 85%. We need to move our state forward by fixing that 85% that we do agree on. You don't have to leave your core values behind to be able to work together. So I've always done that. I see so far there's been great efforts on both sides to do that, and I'm encouraged by it.
Okay, Ruth Johnson, now state senator who represents Michigan's 14th state Senate district, former Michigan Secretary of State. It was really great to have you here with us on Detroit Today.
Thanks, Stephen. You have a great day.
Yeah, we'll catch up with you again soon.
Okay, thank you.